many of you guys know, my mom and I actually started going back to school, and we are now taking classes to become registered herbalists. At least we are in the process. So in all of this, some of the things that we have to do is write a protocol. Basically, what a protocol is the same thing of what your plan of action would be to
help yourself heal.
Yeah, to help yourself heal. Kind of just like when you go to the doctors and they give you a course of how and what to do. It's the same way for herbalist, but it's using herbs and how to heal yourself with what's growing outside. So tonight we made up a tea. This tea, I've got a little bit left in the jar. Can you see it? Oh my gosh, it is beautiful. So this tea is what? Chamomile.
2 parts chamomile.
2 parts chamomile.
And then it has rose petals.
Rose petals.
Rose hips.
Rose hips, meadowsweet, and we put some lemon balm in it.
Lemon balm.
Some lemon balm. So this tea is not only beautiful, it smells amazing, but it's actually really good for you. So this is a little makeshift that my mom mixed up together, and gosh,
it smells like honey.
It does. It smells like honey, which reminds me I need to add some honey to our massive tea mugs. I forgot to.
Everything else was dirty.
I didn't do dishes. So we have massive mugs. So come on. We got to get in the camera.
Oh,
Get in the camera.
Hi everybody.
So we're gonna work on a protocol tonight and drink some nice hot tea that she blended up, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about some of the herbs and what we're doing. I think we're gonna work on what, musculoskeletal system?
Yeah, the musculoskeletal system.
So we're gonna work on this and take you guys with us and kind of show you how we are learning to write protocols based on herbs.
Yep.
Come on. Okay, so where's my tea first off? Where's your tea?
This is
So good.
I know this is bad. I'm drinking water and tea tonight.
It's all about hydration. All right, so we have quite a few stacks of books in front of us, but this actually kind of helps us when it comes to writing up a protocol. There are so many herbalists out there that have amazing formulas. Now, granted, this protocol that we're writing up is just a generic. It's not based on the individual. Later, in a couple of years, after we've gone through and had more experience with the whole herbalist practice and learning how to actually start seeing people that want to come maybe one day to us, then we can actually work on a protocol specifically based on that individual. Now, these are just recommendations. This is not a, prescription. This is not.
We're just sharing
Yes.
our knowledge as we're learning
Right.
it. What we're going to look at are some of the different herbs to help our body better itself.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, we don't want to necessarily say this is medicine. However, this is our main textbook. Herbalism, to me, is let's heal the entire body, not necessarily the symptom, if that makes any sense, is what I'm what I've gathered from it. And look at the herbs that we use, that you might use in your life every day. Look at peppermint.
Coffee.
Ginger for nausea. Coffee for
Stimulant.
becoming, yes, a stimulant. So, I mean, there are things that are out there that's an herb. And, I mean, for us...
Herb or plant or something, or, it's a seed. It's kind of neat. This goes way back in history.
Way back.
And here we are in an area that has a lot of herbs growing wild.
Ginseng. I actually have the ginseng in there, so that, you know.
And it's like this whole COVID thing.
What do you do with it?
Yeah, this COVID thing hit, and all of a sudden my interest, I'm looking and there's these big long yellow flowering tube plants, and I'm going, what is that?
Yeah.
Why is there so much of it? What is it for? What you know? And lo and behold, that's an herb that's used with believed to be used as one thing to help the lungs and the chest heal. Possibly from maybe COVID, you know, just to heal the body, to help the body heal itself. I guess that's kind of where I go with the more herbalist.
Agreed. So we snuck away over the summer.
Yeah.
Went on a whole herbal camp experience, and we were able to hike and find plants that were growing and learn how to identify them, and then how to use them medicinally. So the camp that we went to and the school that we're going to is Green Comfort Herbal School. This is an awesome school that is local to us. It's very quaint. This portion of our course is basically the introduction to, it's the anatomy and physiology. So we're learning how plants...
All of it.
Yeah, but right now this portion is basically learning how the plants work within your body. The next portion of the course is going to be the apothecary, where we're going to be doing more tinctures, mixing, figuring out how to actually come up with the
different formulas that you know, might be beneficial, and then understanding. I think this particular one is more kind of like whetting your appetite.
Yeah.
Right. Whetting your appetite, getting you prepared, getting you to understand how your body works, and then also in a broad spectrum.
Yeah.
And then also a very broad spectrum of how different herbs and plants can be utilized to help the body.
And not just in a culinary form, which is what we mainly do. We mainly cook with a lot of herbs, but now we're really learning some cool stuff with it. So tonight we're going to talk about...
Well, tonight's topic.
We're going to focus on carpal tunnel.
Yes.
And I'll show you guys some of the books that we go through, and basically share with you what we've kind of found. Now, granted, there's a lot of information out there, but these books that we have, they've all been pretty good. And each author... Each herbalist has shared their own formulas on what they would do to help assist an individual with their ailment.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the books that I really have found that I like is by James A. Duke, and it's actually Green Pharmacy. We've come across a couple really interesting books along the way. David Hoffman, he is the writer to our main textbook, which is this big boy. But he has also written the new holistic Herbal, and I think he wrote another one, didn't he?
We've got a couple of them over here.
My good friend, let me see that one.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's another one.
This is another book that we've actually, I think we've enjoyed that one pretty. My really good friend Amy Fuel, which you guys might have seen me or heard me talk about her in the past, but she has written this book here, which is an awesome book, especially if you are wanting to do stuff based on your homestead. So she's got some pretty cool recipes in here that we've enjoyed. Okay, so let's dive into how we do a protocol. So we're going to start with the disease condition. We chose carpal tunnel.
Right. This is a really helpful one too.
Oh yeah, that's an old one.
Yeah, this is a really old one. I don't know if you can read that, but I've had this, oh my gosh, forever.
For that one, and then I do like this one quite a bit, actually. And I can try to put together a list for you guys to see if anybody is interested in this, if they want to find some good books and start reading. But basically, okay, so we're gonna do carpal tunnel.
Right.
What is carpal tunnel?
Basically, it's the carpal tunnel syndrome is the term used to describe a set of symptoms that occur when the median nerve in the wrist is compressed or damaged.
Yes.
The median nerve controls the thumb muscles, and it's also responsible for sensation felt in the thumb, the palm, the first 3 fingers of the hand. And then we got, oh, I love this part. Small shout out to my big fat Greek wedding. The carpal, from the Greek word carpos, meaning wrist. Tunnel is very small, opening about 1/4 of an inch below the surface of the wrist, in which the median nerve passes. And then the median nerve is vulnerable to compression or injury from a number of sources: swelling, pregnancy, water retention, pressure on the bone, bone spurs, diabetes, bone dislocation or fracture, inflammatory arthritis, and even tendinitis. And it's associated with repetitive motion injury.
Which that follows through with the incidence. So when does it happen? So this is, okay, what is it? Describe it. Incidence. Okay, then let's start thinking about your treatments. You know, so most people, when they have carpal tunnel, they go to the doctors, or actually they don't go to the doctors right away. They probably start taking an anti-inflammatory, because that's what's happening is it's inflamed, so let's reduce it. So that would be any NSAID, anything like an ibuprofen. Now what we're doing is learning how to reroute our brain. So instead of taking an NSAID or a Motrin or ibuprofen, same thing, we are rerouting our brain to now think, what herbs can do that for us?
Or
so
only going that route.
Right.
We're opening ourselves up to other alternative
methods. Some of the herbal therapies with the actions. That is where we start pulling in these books and we start really kind of, okay, so James A. Duke has his opinion, and so do many other of these herbalists. Again, they have all written their own protocols. So what we do is we kind of look through each one,
find the common thread.
Right, and figure out, okay, so if it were me, if I was the person who had carpal tunnel, what would I want? Take that into consideration big time, because I wouldn't want to recommend something that tastes absolutely horrible to somebody. I wouldn't take it. So
and then also what's readily available.
Yeah.
You know.
And we are kind of thinking, in a way, I like learning like she said, what's readily available. For me, I'm a homesteader. She's homestead in training.
I've been grandma.
She'll be fine. But we're thinking about what's growing outside. Now, I don't know if carpal tunnel, I don't know if the connection's there, but that's what we are.
It is.
We're going to learn.
Yep.
All right, so repetitive movement, that's what is kind of the main factor in this.
It does state that, you know, it's very common in both sexes, but women between the ages of 29 and 62,
which is hormonal. That's all. She was actually complaining. She was like, my hands.
Well, that had something to do with chickens. But.
Coming up, and let's start talking about the protocols and figuring out, okay, let's figure out herbal therapy with an action. So, what would we do? James A. Duke actually talks about willow bark. So, willow bark,
analgesic.
it is, let's see, the original source of aspirin.
Okay.
That is actually really cool. It relieves the pain and reduces inflammation. So that would really stick out to me as something, because it has two parts to it. It does two things. So it helps with pain and it helps with inflammation. How I would use it, this actually, oh, look at this. It's notable with meadowsweet.
Oh, that's what we're drinking.
So what's pretty interesting is willow actually contains a chemical called salicylates. Saliciates. Did I say that right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I said that. Saliciates. Salicylates. Thank goodness for Google when it comes to big terms.
Say that 3 times.
Salicylates. Gosh, that doesn't sound like a word. Salicylates contains chemicals that both relieve pain and inflammation. You might also try, all right, other herbs that are rich in salicylates, which are meadowsweet and wintergreen. So meadowsweet is actually what we have in our tea tonight.
That's the one that it was speaking to me that night that we needed it.
We did a lot of work outside the other night. It was all day event on the farm, hands on. It was cold. It was a hard day. It was a very challenging homestead day, but
sitting still, being cold, but then moving.
Right, one of those things.
Yeah.
So part of this tea was made for us because we were all very, very sore from working extremely hard on the farm. So that is interesting about the meadowsweet with the willow.
Right.
Now,
and I purposely chose that, if you remember correctly.
Yeah, you did. So then we start looking at how do you use the willow. So this is where it's kind of cool because now, okay, so I have James A. Duke's recommendation on willow. So now I pull through some of our other books to actually look at the herb itself and figure out how would I use it. I have read that it actually has a kind of a bitter taste to it. So if I were to use it, I would maybe want to mask the taste a little bit with something else, something that's a little bit more like a punch, like lemon or mint even.
And I put rose in it too.
Rose.
So I just got this one. This is just a little one.
Herbal Remedies Handbook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't get it so much for the remedies.
Andrew.
This is Chevalier. Well, I'm going to French pronounce it. Chevalier. And this recommended capsules or a tincture.
Okay, so this James recommends a tea form, but
here it is.
And then also talks about the bitter again. So this is where it's kind of interesting. You want to see how other people are doing it and what they would do with it. But in the end result, we know what it. Yeah, exactly. So me, I don't know if I want to taste something bitter, but I would probably mask it or blend it with something else like what we kind of did here, and it tastes amazing. Now,
willow bark, white willow. This is saying best taken as a tincture or capsule or an infusion.
There you go.
It's often used with devil's claw, which this even says devil's claw. Does that one say?
So this one doesn't have devil's claw.
Okay, so that might be.
My second recommendation in here that he has is chamomile, which makes total sense. This has chamomile in it because, again, chamomile it's one, it tastes really good, and two, it actually is an anti-inflammatory.
Yep.
So.
And the other part about this.
And it's easy to come by.
So.
Now, but don't drink chamomile if you are allergic to any of the aster family flower. I do remember that. So that's another thing. Before you take something or do anything, do some research and find out what the cautions or any
contraindications.
So
this particular book, without going too much just because we're on willow bark, it says the key actions, which is what we're looking for. It's an analgesic.
Which is for pain.
Anti-inflammatory.
Which is to help reduce the inflammation.
It's also an astringent, so that's got a drying portion of it, which I can understand that because if you're going to be removing the swelling, you're going to want that astringent. And then it relieves fever. But it says this bark may be used as a first aid remedy for headaches, toothaches, and back pain. But its main use is in muscle and joint inflammation, pain, and stiffness for conditions such as sport injuries and gout. This herb does have a few side effects, and it may be preferable to an aspirin-type anti-inflammatories in conditions such as osteoarthritis that require a long-term use. But it does, going back to the caution, you do not want to take this if you have a sensitivity to aspirin or while you're breastfeeding. And then it also gives a caution to not give this to children with any type of viral infection. So that's going to go back into that Rise syndrome. So, it's all this. Okay, so if you can't use this, then what else?
What's your alternative? But again, whenever you're finding anything or a plan of action for yourself, make sure to look at everything. Look at all the information, read it, and it is helpful to have multiple books. Now, most books are designed to be user friendly. Now, the other thing, at least I hope.
Except don't look at our bucks.
Yeah, that's why we have 20.
I like this one.
All right, that's a good one. Okay, so
What's the next one?
pineapple.
Oh, this one said
It's the
bromelain.
yeah, bromelain. That is actually again, it helps with anti-inflammatory.
And it
Pineapple
says-
is actually James A. Duke has a thing for pineapple, I feel like,
I
because
think
almost everything that he says in here, or almost any ailment, he tends to say pineapple, which I find amazing, actually, because that is easy to come by. Granted, I don't grow pineapple here on the farm, but I can get that if I wanted to. Upon us writing our protocol, not only are we kind of coming up with a list of herbs and how we would take them, whether it's a tea form or a tincture or a capsule, but other aspects to look at is supplements like vitamins. Another thing to consider is foods to include in your diet. So it's not just about taking a capsule, it's about eating the right foods for you. One of the suggestions or not to eat, yeah. One of the suggestions that Duke recommends is finding foods that are high in B6. Some of those foods are, again, fairly easy to either grow or
Purchase.
Or a couple of the suggestions are cauliflower, watercress, bananas,
Avocados.
oh yeah, avocados,
Potatoes, nuts,
spinach. I mean, this is,
bluefin tuna.
it is all kind of coming together. So it's not just one capsule or one cup of tea that's going to help you. This is a whole plan, not just a capsule. This is let's look at the bigger picture, which is, again, I think why I really enjoy this. I enjoy herbalism. I if you guys didn't know about me in the past, I worked in the medical field for many years, and my official title is a surgical first assist, and that's what I do. I assist in surgeries. Been on break for a little while doing the family thing right now due to everything that's kind of been going on. I'm very blessed to have an opportunity to take a break, but I still love medicine. So now it's just a different way for me to look at it. Again, it's not just taking an ibuprofen to help alleviate a headache. It's looking
Find out
at
what the root of the problem is.
Exactly.
Well, this one has a whole section on slowing down your rhythm, taking a break, shake your hands out periodically,
do some
stretching,
exercises and stretching.
So
yeah,
posture. Use a tool instead of flexing your wrists forcibly. Keep your elbows bent. Adjust your computer screen. Use armrests.
There are many things that can be done, not just with herbs, not just with a pill, and not just.
Well, it's also how willing are you going to be.
That was just one protocol. So we're gonna type this up, write this out.
So formulas, I would probably go both with tinctures and teas.
I would do tea.
Yeah.
I would focus on chamomile as a good tea. I would actually look into
meadowsweet.
Chamomile, meadowsweet, and I mean, I would not be opposed of the.
I'll eat pineapple.
I'll eat
I don't
them.
know if I'll eat a half a pineapple every day for 3 weeks.
I would.
I'd be willing
that
to.
would be good.
I'd try.
Can it have chocolate on it?
You know, it doesn't say anything that you can't have chocolate.
Chocolate is very good. Not
Chocolate covered pineapples. Let's see. It also devil's claw, yarrow. I would do yarrow.
Yeah, and that's what's like what we were talking about. Looking at all of this and then coming up with a plan basically is based off of the individual. Now we could be very broad or we can be extremely narrow in our plan. Me personally, I like tea. I would drink tea. I would drink it. If I needed something, I would probably focus on tea or a capsule, but that's me.
So this goes into joint pain, stiffness, chronic inflammation, turmeric. Why is turmeric not in here?
Turmeric's in here, actually.
Okay, and comfrey. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because they're anti-inflammatory.
And I said capsaicin.
Yeah, they're anti-inflammatory. inflammatory. So this is where it's fun. That's where you get you get as many books as you can, spread them out, and look at each individual one.
So what do we have here that we could make right now with this, for this one?
Oh, I've got all.
We have Willow.
No, I don't have Willow.
Okay,
I have
so we have
chamomile,
chamomile.
I've got bittersweet, I've got pineapple, I've got red peppers, which is another thing. Red peppers are,
The capsaicin.
yeah,
We have cumin.
which is anti-inflammatory.
we have sage. We
cumin.
have comfrey. We have turmeric.
Yeah. So,
What's the next page?
and I've got
That's
cauliflower.
it. So-
We could blend, we could make something, blend something, or
That would be helpful
Yeah.
for a body suffering with
To-
carpal tunnel.
to recommend. Thank you guys for doing some homework with us. We got a lot more to go. And again, we are not know-all herbalists. We are definitely herbalists in training. This is part of what we are learning to just grow our homestead and be a little bit more self-reliant with what we have and how to use it. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and learn something old.